Hey everyone, Jake here for Extreme Terrain, and in this video we're going to be showing you how to choose side steps for your Toyota Tacoma. Side steps are some of the first modifications that owners make to their trucks, and with good reason. They can change up the look, they provide you with more access to the cabin, and they can add some extra protection as well. But there are a bunch of different options, and we thought it would be nice to give you some pros and cons of each type. Now this information is going to apply to all generations of Tacoma, so no matter which one you're rocking, you'll be able to utilize this info. First, let's take a look at the standard side step bar, such as the Red Rock 5-inch oval bent end side step bars we see here. Now these are a more traditional type of side step consisting of a large rounded bar with integrated step pads. Now these are usually available in a few different types of configurations and styles, often 3, 4, 5, or 6-inch width with straight or bent ends. These are arguably some of the simplest and cleanest designs out there when it comes to steps. And the Red Rock oval bent end side step in particular features a wide 5-inch step with a rubberized step pad and a gloss black finish. Side step bars are easy to mount, and they do sit a bit further out from the rocker panels in most cases, offering you a nice large stepping area so you get good access to the cabin and a clean overall look. However, they don't have the largest step area available, and because of the positioning, they are going to cut into your ground clearance a bit. So for a more off-road oriented build, these may not be quite the right choice. However, there's no arguing their clean style and utility or their price, as these tend to be some of the more affordable options out there. Similarly traditional is our next category, running boards, such as the Barricade Rattler steel running boards. Now this type of step runs the full length of the wheelbase of your truck, and the entire thing is a step. Now these typically offer a smaller width as compared to standard side steps, but the usable area is quite a bit larger, as the entire thing is a stepping surface, stem to stern. These will afford you that additional access to the cabin or even your roof or bed space without really much fuss. The Barricade Rattlers, for example, have a very large 6.5-inch step width all the way through with anti-slip grating built into the boards. They also feature a multi-stage E-coat and powder coat over top of 14-gauge carbon steel construction. So these are simple, they're clean, they're durable, and that's a theme that permeates through to pretty much all running boards in the category. They can come in different forms. Now some, like the Rattlers, have open holes for extra traction, whereas others are fully solid and have gripping pads all the way through. Either way, you still get a large surface area and more versatility when it comes to where you put your feet. Now these do, however, tend to sit a bit closer to the rocker panels, so you do get some added protection with running boards. However, they are similar to side steps in the fact that they hang down a bit lower. Now that makes for easier access for you, but they are going to cut into your ground clearance a bit. They also tend to have a very clean and simple look overall, making them a good choice for pretty much any build. Now deviating a bit from the more traditional side steps we've already looked at, we have drop steps, also known as Nerf bars, such as these HDX Drop Nerf side step bars. Now drop steps typically are a bit more rugged or beefy looking, and they usually consist of more squared off bars and, as the name implies, steps that drop down beneath the door area. These HDXs, for example, have a 4-inch width step with a non-slip graded step area and a unique bar shape, plus an open back area to give dirt, mud, and debris another escape route. The bars are a one-piece design, and that makes them extra strong, and the textured black powder coat helps protect the steel underneath from rust and corrosion. Now drop steps sacrifice a bit in the way of stepping space as compared to regular side step bars or running boards, but what they lack in step space, they more than make up for when it comes to protection. Now these aren't going to impede your ground clearance quite as much as a side step bar or running board, and they cover more of your rocker panels, so they sit up a bit closer to the body of the truck. So they offer you a bit more protection without sacrificing as much in the way of ground clearance. Now Nerf bars do tend to be a bit more expensive than your typical running boards due to that more complicated construction, which is oftentimes a one-piece design like these HDXs. But there are a variety at most price points, so you'll be able to find one that suits you best. Now swinging more in the other direction are rock sliders, such as the rocker step running boards you see here. As you can probably tell, rock sliders are the most unique of the bunch we've looked at so far, as they're geared more toward the off-road intensive buyer. Now these are designed to keep your ground clearance almost completely intact, and they're engineered typically to be much more protection oriented rather than functioning as steps. While these rocker step running boards in particular do have some places on which you can put your feet and utilize them as a step, they are by no means as easy of a step to use as any of our previous examples. However, again, what they lack in access, they more than make up for in protection. Again, that's a theme you're going to see repeated throughout this category. These are typically a really beefy setup that fit very snug to the rocker panels, and they often wrap around both sides of it underneath and on the outside. This is to ensure that when you are out on the trail, you're not going to wreck your rocker panels or damage the body of the truck if you happen to hit something. The rocker step running boards we have as an example here feature heavy-duty carbon steel construction, and the outer tubing has a 1.7-inch diameter. Everything there is coated with a textured black powder coat, sort of the standard finish, and it provides some protection and some anti-slip properties for the times when you do need to put your feet up on them. Rock sliders tend not to drop down very far either. In fact, they don't really drop down much at all, which means that they keep your overall ground clearance and your breakover angle pretty much completely intact. So if you're looking more for protection as opposed to access, these are going to be the ticket. Then we get to the big dogs, the power side steps, such as the AMP Research Power Step running boards. Power side steps combine some of the best benefits of standard running boards, Nerf bars, and rock sliders into one really cool package. The AMP Research steps in particular are basically the standard aftermarket power steps, and they feature aluminum construction that can support up to 600 pounds each, and of course they automatically extend and retract when the door opens and closes. Now these are going to come with all the brackets, the hinges, the wiring, and the motors that you need to get them hooked up. Power side steps are a bit bulkier and heavier than traditional running boards by nature, but they are a pretty neat party trick as well, since people are usually really mesmerized when they first see them deploy. Now in their closed position, they look and function much like rock sliders, as they tuck up pretty close to the rocker panels, thus providing you with quite a bit of protection while you're on the go, and they're not going to detract too much from your ground clearance. They're also going to provide a cleaner, sleeker appearance as opposed to some of the other side steps or running boards we've looked at, since they're hidden away when the door closes. But they also drop down lower than traditional running boards in their deployed position, so you get more access even if your truck is lifted. And since they're a completely flat step, you've got plenty of real estate to utilize to access the cabin, the roof, or the bed. However, as with most things in life, there is a compromise. While the other variations on side steps we've looked at in this video are all usually pretty inexpensive and simple to install, powered steps are neither of those things. They tend to be significantly more expensive and more complicated to install just by the nature of what they are. You've got wiring, you've got motors, you've got brackets, you've got all kinds of other stuff rather than just bolting on a side step. But if you want the convenience and the benefits, they are worth the cost both from a money and time perspective. It's just a matter of thinking about what's most important to you. Now it is worth taking a moment to talk about materials and construction here as well. Most side steps, even up to the power steps, are going to be made from either aluminum or some kind of steel with different types of coatings over top. Some just have a simple powder coating, some are chrome, others have multi-layer coatings for added protection. Aluminum steps are of course going to end up costing you a bit more than steel. The material is more expensive and they weigh less and have better corrosion and rust resistance properties. And of course, better coatings will cost you more as well. But there are plenty of choices and styles out there to fit any build or budget, so make sure you take a look. And if you have any questions about anything, you can always contact one of our awesome customer service reps who will help you make a decision. Now, hopefully this video gave you some insight into the different types of side steps that are out there for your Tacoma. Again, this is meant to be more of a general overview, so it can be applied to all generations of Tacoma. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, make sure you're subscribed, and that you've clicked that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. We've got lots more in-depth product review and install videos, plus some other cool content coming your way soon. That's about it for this one though. I've been Jake, thanks for watching, and as always for all things Tacoma, be sure to keep it right here at extremeterrain.com.